Hey guys, welcome back to the 40 Women series. Yes, we are still going. We are going, going. And the two women I'm going to talk about today will bring us to 20 women down. So I'm going to be talking about Mary and Martha. And then we'll go back to back on the remaining 20. I'm looking forward to fully like hitting the 40 women that I set out to as I started. So let's jump right into it. Now, the story that I'm going to be sharing, it's in Luke, or the portion of scripture rather, it's in Luke chapter 10, 38 to 42. Let's jump right into it. The title is At the Home of Martha and Mary, and I'm reading the NIV version. Verse 38 says that as Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. She came to him and asked, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do my work? To do the work rather by myself? Tell her to help me. Martha, Martha, the Lord answered, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen which is better, and it will not be taken away from her. So, who is Mary? Who is this Mary and Martha in scripture? Mary and Martha happen to be Lazarus' sisters. So, Lazarus, Mary, and Martha are apparently siblings that Jesus was very close to. So, if you remember the story of Lazarus that Jesus raised from the dead, when he was told that Lazarus was sick, he stayed back and took his time. And then he eventually gets to the scene after a couple of days when Lazarus is now stinking and all of that. And he sees Martha. Martha is the one that comes out, which tells you a lot about these women's personality. Mary stayed in weeping. She was crying about her brother. There were lots of people at the scene. Martha was one that came in, came to meet him. And then Jesus went in with her and they were like, what's up? Why did it take you so long? Almost like, you love us so much. You're someone we know, we love, we value. Like, why did it take you so long? But of course, it happened that way because God wanted to show something, wanted to prove himself strong in Lazarus' situation. And Lazarus' death apparently mirrors what Christ did for us on the cross. So basically, these two sisters, you can tell just a little bit by their personality. Also, I don't know if you guys remembered when I did the study of a woman with the alabaster box. I think when I did that story, I cited like three different portions of scripture, one with Simon, one with the disciples criticizing her, Judas Iscariot. And apparently, when I was trying to share this video out, I did see that perhaps Mary Bethany, one of the stories might not be the same woman, as though like maybe Mary is not the sinful woman with the alabaster box, but she was more because she anointed his feet as opposed to his head. So I don't know how true that is, but I wanted to just put it out here just in case Mary Bethany is actually different from the unnamed woman that poured the alabaster box. They might be two separate events. I don't know how true that is. But the focus of the study today is really about Mary and Martha. So Mary and Martha, they are at this place where Jesus comes, and Martha is about business, about serving lots of people. She's about going here and there like you would. If someone comes to your home, you want to make sure that everything is okay. So there was nothing particularly wrong. I think where the issue was, as I looked into this portion of scripture again, is just that validation that you want when you're busy about, maybe the season of your life is about you being busy about this, maybe that's just the time of your life, but then you see your sister like a Mary just sat at Jesus's feet, not worried, not stressed out about all the things that you're stressed about, and that suddenly just wiles up some kind of insecurity. And it is so relatable. You know how many of us we have this passion and zeal, and I believe that God put it in us because we're here to fulfill His purposes and His plans. I think where we model the water a little bit is when our ambition and our striving, becomes a lot more than what God is even asking us to do. So I see a story here where Martha feels like this is what is important, and Jesus is saying, actually, in the grand scheme of things, Mary has found something better, which is just to sit at my feet and to learn of me and to hear my instructions. And it wasn't that he was dismissing what she was doing, but he was basically just setting what was priority at that point in time. Imagine having Jesus in your house. What could be more important than just stopping everything and just sitting at his feet and taking in everything, soaking in the moment, wanting to make the most of the opportunity because you don't even know if you're going to, I mean, this is a very busy man. He's about doing the Lord's business. He's here healing people today, and he's just in your house in that moment. And also, I feel like there's a familiarity that can also spin into it. Perhaps, I'm not saying this is what Martha was thinking. I'm just playing a scenario where sometimes to the familiarity of just that closeness they had with Jesus might also trivialize the importance that this is still the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, the one that shifts heavens, the one that heals, the one that raised Lazarus from the dead. What could be more important than sitting with him? And as I reflect on the story of these two women, it reminds me how we can fall in the trap of looking at what others are doing and allowing that to stir us up and to distract us from where God has asked us to sit. You could be in a season in your life where God has really asked you to serve and all of that, but you must also respect the people who God has asked to just sit at his feet. And they're in that season where there's a stop to what they're doing. There's not too many hustle and bustle. But also, it's also for us to also reflect on what is God really asking us to do right now. At this moment in my life, what is important? Am I distracted by too many things? Am I overwhelmed by the cares and worries of this life? Or am I truly like sitting at the source of all things, the one that gives you peace, the one that sets the record straight, the one that, like really gives you the assignment, reveals himself to you so that you can know, you can be focused on where you're going. And I just want to bring it back to how Jesus said that. He says, there's a way he coined it. It says that, this one thing is important. She has found this good thing. Like the way he talked about it was like, it's a good thing that she has found just to sit at my feet and learn of me, just to spend time with me. It's a good thing. And that's why I want you to encourage us today as we ponder on these two women, that it's a good thing to sit at Jesus' feet. It's a good thing to spend time with him. It's a good thing to set out time from the mundane, from all the things that weighs heavy on you, and just be like, I just want to be away with you. And each person knows where they are coming from. You know your story, all the many things that God has pulled you through from. You even know your battles. I I recently just feel like, not just recently, but I find that in my own life, for example, God tries to call my attention every now and again because I have a tendency to just be about so many things and I can be a Martha, like just all over the place, wanting to serve, wanting to be here, wanting to be this. And then the way God often pulls me back and draws my attention is that those things become overwhelming. And then I realize that actually these things are becoming burdens to me more than actually serving from a place of joy, from a place of peace. And I think that in that moment, perhaps that's what Martha was dealing with in her heart as she was just rushing and going everywhere. And that's why she took a step back and said, I thought this is important. Surely this is important. Giving people food and giving them, that should be more important, isn't it? And God was like, Jesus was like, no, like Mary has found this good thing. Leave her alone. Like, you do you. This is what you want to do, but she's found this good thing, so leave her. And so for me, at this season of my life, this story speaks to me and just sets my mind back to what is truly important. Spending time with God, being about his own business and his instructions for you. And his instructions are not burdensome. anytime we feel overwhelmed by what we perceive to be service to God, we need to take a step back and reflect and ask ourselves, am I doing this as my own thing? Is this about self, or is this really about God? So that's for thought for you. And yeah, let me know what you think about these two women and how this impacts your life. What season are you in your life right now? Are you in service? Are you all about, serving people, but are you burdensome about it? Or are you just about sitting down and resting at the feet of Jesus? In any case, I've come to realize that out of anything you can do in this world, business, hustle and bustle, there's still nothing as precious as sitting on the feet of Jesus. So I encourage you, ladies, just as we're encouraged by the life of these two women, it's not that one person should be put down, but it's just a thing of stepping back and recognizing in this moment, Jesus is in the room. What could be more important than sitting at his feet? Thank you, guys. 20 more to go. Phew. Don't worry, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this before July, because July is when I actually turn 40. So I'm hoping to get all of these women squared and pegged out of the way, to fulfill this mission of 40 Women series. All right, take care. Bye, guys. See you later.